For more on the important topic of piracy, our Sean Calebs spoke with Pottengal Mukundan, Director of International Maritime Bureau, ICC, Commercial Crime Services. Sean started and asked him why Southeast Asia is the new hotspot for piracy.
The attacks in Southeast Asia are a particular kind of attack. They are aimed at small coastal tankers. And the purpose of this attack is to hijack the ship and then to siphon off a quantity of their cargo on board, which is usually either marine diesel oil or gas oil, which is easily sold on the markets in Southeast Asia. That is the purpose of the attack. The ship is kept under control of the pirates for a short period of time, usually a day or so, and after that, the ship is released.
Let's put that in perspective, because we're all familiar with what has happened off the coast of Somalia, where pirates take hostages and they want money from who's ever flying the flag of that certain ship. Why is it different in Southeast Asia? Once they grab the ship, couldn't they take someone hostage and get money?
Well, the big difference between Somalia and the rest of the world is that Somalia is a failed state, at least until recently. And the pirates were able to hijack ships thousands of miles, 1,000 miles away from Mogadishu, and then take it into Somalia, anchor it near the beach in Somalia, and then keep the vessel there for many months, in some cases years, while ransom is negotiated for the release of the ship and the crew. In places like Southeast Asia, it is simply impossible because you don't have these safe havens for these criminals to hold a big ship to ransom. What is happening in Southeast Asia is really a very targeted attack against these small coastal tankers. I think that is important to emphasize. So far, we have not seen these attacks extending to larger vessels which are regularly going through these waters.
1/3 of the world's shipping goes through that area. It is a very rich area. What can be done to combat this? It sounds rather simple, but the U.S. has made its point that it's going to have a pivot toward Asia, putting more military in that region. China is certainly doing a lot in the area. Philippines. Why are pirates so successful in that region?
I think the areas in the waters in Southeast Asia, it's vast, and you know, Indonesia, for example, is a huge archipelago with a lot of sea area to be properly patrolled, and that is simply impossible. What is really required is to try and identify where the local hotspots are for these kind of attacks, and for the navies and the coast guards to focus their attention on these areas and catch some of these criminals. When they catch them and they try them under law, it will discourage others from engaging in this activity, and then you begin to see the attacks coming down. So far, for example, the hotspot for this particular kind of attack is in the southern approaches to the South China Sea, around the island of Bintan and other small islands in this choke point for shipping. They are targeting these very small coastal tankers. They have had 11 hijackings since April 2014. So we are looking at something which needs to be brought under control, and hence the actions by the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency yesterday is very, very valuable. Actions. We need more of these actions to catch these gangs.
What can we take that worked in the Somalia area and bring to Southeast Asia?
I think the most important lesson is really that there needs to be close coordination and information exchange between the maritime law enforcement agencies across the countries in the region. Because the pirates don't recognize territorial limits. They will easily cross the waters from one country to another. And you need to have that very close coordination so that when an incident occurs, all the countries are working closely together to catch these gangs. And you know, at the end of the day, this is a financial crime. What they're after is financial return. If they find that the risks are too big compared to the return, it will discourage them from carrying out these attacks. And really, that is where we want to be headed. We had a large number of these hijackings back in the early 2000s, 2002, 2003, and before that. It has since gone down simply because there was strong, robust action taken by the countries, and that is really the answer to it.
It is the answer, but look at what's going on right now. Many nations are having territorial disputes over the South China Sea. What is it going to take to get all these countries to work together for the common good?
We haven't seen the piracy attacks taking place in the waters which are disputed, you know, in the islands in the South China Sea. We haven't seen the attacks taking place. The attacks are taking place in the main waterways, the main channels of sea communication through which these tankers sail. And they are away from that, and there are countries which should be exercising their jurisdiction. In fact, all the countries of Southeast Asia should be working very closely together to try and catch these gangs. They will go, at the end of the day, they take the oil, they have to discharge it somewhere. These tankers have to go ashore to ports to replenish their fuel and other things. So it should be possible to catch these gangs. And when that is done, we will see a reduction. On the part of the ships, we want the vessels to very promptly report all their attacks or suspicious maritime activity that they see around them to either our center or to the coastal states, so that there is greater awareness and preemptive action can be taken against suspect motherships which are carrying out these attacks.